All right, you ready to talk about the Bills, Reagan?
Mm-hmm.
Wrap this puppy up.
Now, so I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's talk some
The
Bills.
Buffalo Bills, the reigning division champions at 11-6. Their win total this year is at 10.5. They have the 10th most difficult schedule projected by Sharp. Some key losses: Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Leonard Floyd, Micah Hyde, Mitch Morse, Tre'Davious White, Jordan Poyer. Essentially, their entire starting secondary from last year is gone. Some key adds: Curtis Samuel, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Mac Hollins, Mike Edwards, and Austin Johnson. This team has a dead cap charge of $61.2 million this year, with over half of that attributed to Stephon Diggs. Hence why they had to shed a lot of weight, and they didn't really bring in a ton of talent, Reagan. Doesn't matter, though, with Josh Allen at the helm.
No, it doesn't. This team's going to be good. I mean, they're not going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that, but I still got them going 11-6 this year, and most of it has to do with Josh Allen. I mean, the guy is a stud. It's going to hurt them losing Matt Milano. Or I don't. Yeah. Is he out for? He's out. No, we talked about this. He's not confirmed out for the year, but he's going to be out for the majority of the season, so that's going to obviously hurt a lot. And obviously, they already had to let a lot of guys go in the offseason, so none of it's great. But obviously losing Diggs, Gabe Davis, that doesn't help. But I think just basically betting on Josh Allen, it would be like putting Patrick Mahomes or close to Patrick Mahomes in this situation. I still think they're going to beat up on the bad teams, and then some of these better teams, they might get exposed a little bit just because the defense isn't great, and obviously the offense doesn't have the weapons it once had. But I am excited for what Keon Coleman can do. Obviously, Ray Davis, the guy they drafted out of Kentucky, the running back, he's sneaky. I've been picking him up and throwing him in my taxi spot for Dynasty right now, but he seems to be on the outside track to get that number 2 job behind James Cook with a role. So I think they're going to have to rely a lot more on James Cook. And then the tight ends between Knox and Kincaid, I think they're both going to have big roles, especially Kincaid. He's a guy I've been targeting a lot in fantasy leagues, Dynasty, Best Ball, you name it. He's one of my favorite tight ends for fantasy this year.
Yeah, I love Dalton Kincaid. I got the Bills at 9-8 and on the outside looking in the playoff picture this year. Hate to do it because Josh Allen is that dude, but they just lost so much talent for me, man. I mean, Allen had the highest interception rate of his career at 3.1% last year and lowest touchdown rate as a passer at 5%, and now you lose Stephon Diggs. Not ideal. He did lead the team with 15 rushing touchdowns and actually leads the entire league in rushing touchdowns with 53 since he entered the league in 2018, which is pretty crazy. I love Dalton Kincaid, 73 catches for 673 yards and 2 touchdowns as a rookie. I'd expect all of those numbers to go up this year. I'd love him for fantasy. Mentioned earlier, the wide receiver core. Don't love it. Curtis Samuel's yet to eclipse 900 receiving yards, but hopefully with Joe Brady and that connection, he can become more so what he was in 2020. A lot is hinging on Keon Coleman. Ton of potential, but was inconsistent at both Michigan State and Florida State. He does struggle to create separation, but he's a freak athlete. He's 6'4". He can hurdle dudes. He returned punts, so he has the tools to be a legit threat, but needs to get better at getting open and catching the ball. Hopefully he does, because this offense needs it. I love James Cook, 281 touches last year for 1,567 yards and 6 touchdowns. Only 6 touchdowns because Josh Allen hawks a lot of those, but I love what I've seen from James Cook. I think he's a more integral part of the offense this year, as when Joe Brady took over the second half of last year, he got more involved, Diggs less involved. Defensively, I don't love it. I really don't. I mean, they basically lost their entire secondary. Not ideal. They're projected to face the most difficult schedule of opposing offenses. They play a gauntlet of stud quarterbacks this year. So a lot of guys going to have to step up in that secondary. Don't love it. The first on the defensive line, Ed Oliver, love him. Finally reached his potential, lived up to that draft status, 9.5 sacks, 14.5% pressure rate, was 14th amongst interior defensive linemen in ESPN's pass rush win rate and 5th in run stop win rate. So he's the engine that leads this defense right now with all the veterans that departed. AJ Epineza out of Iowa, they took him a couple years ago, 6.5 sacks. Gregory Rousseau, another edge rusher they took out of Miami a couple years ago, had 5 sacks, but had the 20th best pressure rate. So there's more promise there that he will get those sack numbers up. And his run stuffs were good. What about Von Miller, man? Von Miller, they gave him a bag. Is he ever going to return to that form and pay dividends?
Well, he's not even.
Gave him?
he's not even slated to be the starter. He's slated to be the third, fourth guy rotating in. I mean, he's obviously going to still play a bunch, and he'll be used like probably a lot on third down and stuff. But yeah, I mean that's the crazy thing. Who would have thought Von Miller would be coming in as a backup?
Yeah, dude, it's not ideal. It's really not ideal. But
No,
if he gets even close to what he was 2 years ago before the injury, if that's your situational pass rush, you got to be feeling pretty good about that. Christian Benford has big shoes to fill in the secondary, but he was good in coverage last year in his second season. Rasul Douglas was good after getting acquired from Green Bay. Taylor Rapp is solid at safety. Just a lot of question marks on this secondary. I think Josh Allen is going to have to play Superman a lot this season. I got him at 9-8, bro. I got him at 9-8 under the win total.
wow, is that getting in the playoffs?
No, the Bills are not making the playoffs this year.
Wow,
if I'm correct,
bro.
my playoff picture is Kansas City, the Jets, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Colts, the Texans.
Wow.
And the Miami Dolphins. No Bills. No Bills for me in the playoffs.
Fair. I mean, I get it. I mean, on paper, the roster's not great. It was just hard for me to see. While Josh Allen may struggle against the Jets, he just dominates against pretty much all the other NFL, especially the bad teams. So I just find it hard to believe that they can't get into the playoffs. But we've highlighted the AFC is so competitive this year. Like there's very few teams I think that you can't make a case for to make the playoffs this year. So it's tough. It's tough.
Absolutely. And like in their own division, they got worse.
Yeah.
The Jets certainly got better. Miami, I mean, I don't know if they got better, but they're kind of around the same for me. I mean, they lost Christian Wilkins, which is a big loss, and Robert Hunt, but ultimately, Miami and the Jets have a significantly easier schedule than the Bills do, and that's kind of what tilted it for me as well at the end.
Fair. Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I mean, the schedule really does go into it because you already highlighted how good Tua is against bad teams, so
yeah,
it's a big
absolutely.
factor.
MVP, it's Josh Allen. I don't think we need to spend any time there. X Factor, what do you got?
Mine is the wide receiver core because there's so many
mine too.
Yeah, all right, fine. I'll make a case. I'll make a case for I'll make a different case. So mine is I'll go with the edge rushers then because I was kind of debating them too. Obviously, the secondary has a lot of question marks. A lot of guys are gone. The linebacker core, Matt Milano, is going to miss time. So the edge rushers, they need to step up. They need to take all the pressure off of it because you can hide the defensive issues when you are putting pressure on the quarterbacks. You can hide all those secondary issues when the quarterback only has 2-3 seconds to throw the ball. And obviously, they got some names on that D-line and Oliver, Rousseau, Von Miller, who's Epinesa. Yeah, English is tough sometimes. English is tough sometimes, but obviously they got some guys here. So if those guys can step up, really put the pressure on, I think it could be huge.
I like it. Your first choice was the wide receiver core. That's what I went with. Who's going to step up and be that number one option for Josh Allen? They were still successful without Diggs being involved heavily in the back half of the season last year, but I don't know if they can sustain that for a full season. We just saw how much the Chiefs offense struggled compared to what they were last year when they led the league in drops and no one really established themselves till Rashee Rice did eventually at the end of the season. But for the Bills, they don't want to have a similar situation with Josh Allen this year. They need guys to step up early and really establish themselves. Rookie of the year.
I got to go with my guy, Ray Davis. I was already talking about it. I think he is going to probably be the goal line back. He's a bigger back. Out of Kentucky, had some decent production there. Obviously, fourth round isn't a whole lot of capital, but for the position, that's the biggest thing because running backs, it's pretty rare we even see him go in the first round anymore, but we see a lot of guys go in the fourth, fifth, sixth round, but he's 220 pounds. He's not tall. He's only 5'8", but he's an older guy, played a lot of ball in college. So I expect him to have a role here. I don't think James Cook is going to be the goal line back. He's a smaller back. He's not built like Dalvin. So he's more of a receiving back. While he was successful last year running the ball, I just think Ray Davis is going to have a big role. I think he's going to be involved easily over 100 touches, maybe pushing that 200 touch mark.
I went with Keon Coleman. I don't love this draft class in its entirety. You can make the argument for Cole Bishop, second round safety they took out of Utah, but just because they have question marks in the secondary, But ultimately, Keon Coleman's going to be starting from day one. Josh Allen's got to develop a chemistry with somebody. I went with Keon Coleman in the case that it is him that becomes that number one guy. Depoy, Reagan.
Yeah, well, it would have been Matt Milano, but obviously it can't anymore.
I knew you were going to go Milano. You love Milano.
Dude, because he's so good. He's so good. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Ed Oliver. I mean, he's a big presence in the middle there. I mean, obviously, you'd like to see his numbers go up more this season, but he's still one of the better guys. I mean, he was a stud at Houston. He was a guy that almost went first overall years ago. But he really needs to step up, and I think he will. I mean, he's got it. No Matt Milano anymore. So many other guys that were big impacts are gone. He's got to step up and make it big for the hide the flaws with Von Miller not being as healthy anymore and getting older, and the other guys. He's just got to be the MVP and will him on defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no arguments for me there, dude. I mean, he's got to be the engine that leads this team. Honestly, they just need help, and he got paid like the player that he is. So it's time to step up with all those veterans that were there your entire tenure. Now you're the vet. Step in that leadership role and lead this defense.
Yeah.
Drock, what's your lock?
What do we think, gentlemen?
It's Josh Allen over rushing touchdowns.
No, but it is
Josh
rushing, and we are adding another leg to it. We're gonna go Josh Allen 750 regular season rushing yards, which he's hit. He is hit.
That? Plus
and we are adding James Cook to have James Cook. I don't know if y'all figured that was Drock's Locks video. At 1,000 regular season rushing yards, those parlayed get you to plus 900, and they both hit in 2022. Slam it. Sorry,
2022 or 2023.
Sorry, 2023.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. Yeah, 2023.
Yeah, okay. So you're betting on the run game in Buffalo with Joe Brady taking over with all the question marks at receiver. You think this team is going to lean into the run a little bit here? I love
my boy Josh running. And guess what? It's just not going to be into the end zone as much. He's just going to be running midfield and catching me my yards.
I can see it. No one's open downfield. Josh Allen, who wants to tackle that guy in open field? He's just going to take off with the ball.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely think he's going to run the ball a lot more this year, you would think. I mean, the weapons aren't as good. He's going to definitely become more of a Superman than he already is for this team.
It's got to be, Reagan. Okay.
Got to be, bro.
That wraps up the AFC East prediction pod. We're now done with all the division prediction pods, Reagan. Wow, we finally made it.
Let's go. We
finally made it.
Good job, gentlemen. I love listening to every single one of you guys speak about each team.
It's a lot of research went into going and digging into all those 32 teams. Just happy we're almost there, man. 9 days from the season. We got 2 more pods before we kick it off in Kansas City. We have our season-long predictions where we will highlight our playoff picture and awards predictions. And then, obviously, the week 1 predictions. We're back into the swing of things.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait. I can't wait. That first wheel spin, that first Drock's lock. I mean,
oh, stop it. Stop it.
Oh, and there's going to be a new addition to the crew very soon.
That there will be.
Can I tell them or no? Should we wait?
You could tell them.
Yeah, we're getting a second wheel this year. You know.
Yeah.
Although it would have been funny if I don't know if he's going to. Did you tell him to make it exactly the same, or is he going to do a different color?
I don't know if it's going to be exactly the same. I said he can use different colors. So I'm just going to let Stu rock with it. Stu, handymate Stu, neighbor across the street. He's the man. He, if any of your handymate needs, shout out to Stu. He's got you. He can do anything, and that includes making a first touchdown score a wheel. So,
yeah, dude, it's gonna be hilarious. It would have been hilarious if it's exactly the same because people would be like, "How the hell do they get it? How the hell are they just? How is Reagan spinning it in Califon and these guys are spinning it in Hoboken? How are they doing it on a Sunday and a Monday?" And just be like,
"It's like, no, we appreciate the grind. I'm driving there to pick it up every week."
Yeah, that would have been funny.
No, we got 2 wheels. Can't wait for the first touchdown scores. Went up 100 units last year, I believe, or 99 maybe. Might have been 99.
No, it was 100. We round up here.
Yeah, you could round, but it was
unless we're losing money, then we round down.
Yeah, so wheel's gonna be back. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll catch you next week.